So if you tune Subarus, you've probably run into the fact that the stock fuel system barely has enough capacity to do many mods at all before it runs out. Well, we'll show you today how to do something about it. One of the first things that runs out of capacity when tuning like a STI or WRX is the fuel pump. The stock fuel pump can barely supply the stock engine with much headspace, so even a mild just shelf tune or something usually comes really close to maxing out the system. So our Project STI, we had already put a high flow fuel pump in there, but when we switched to E85, that quickly ran out of capacity. We were making about 400 horsepower to the wheels, and at that point the fuel pressure was dropping, and we were opening up the pulse width of the injectors, and we could not richen the mixture anymore. So basically our pump was maxed out. So we decided to fix the situation for good. We got this Radium fuel pump hanger. This is a really neat solution to make modifying the fuel system a lot easier. The Radium system replaces the entire top plate and hanger of your stock fuel tank with this really cool billet all integrated system here. It has a lot of cool features. One, it can handle two different fuel pumps. So if you have a super high horsepower EJ, this has the pumps, and there's no cutting, no messing around or fabricating. They just kind of bolt in right here. We're going to be using a single big pump because our engine isn't that crazy, but it's still going to make decent power. Some of the other cool features are you have this manifold here which handles your return fuel, your suction for the saddle tank on the other side, and your outlet fuel. That's on top of the top plate. Another cool thing is you have the siphon pump. The siphon pump actually sucks fuel out of the other side of the saddle tank. This one has a lot more capacity and flows a lot more fuel than the stock siphon jet, and it's all right here. You don't have to do anything. Another feature is you have a sump right here. This sump is like a cup. The return fuel goes in, and some of the fuel can go in from the bottom, from the tank. It has a one-way check valve here, so the fuel can come in but not slosh out. And it acts like a baffle around the pickup. This means when you're doing cornering, acceleration, or braking, you're not going to be sloshing fuel away from the pickup, and you won't get starvation under G-loads. More cool things is you have these pass-through wiring terminals. This makes wiring from one pump or two pumps super easy, and it's safe. It's totally sealed, corrosion resistant. Right now, the system's wired up for a single pump. You can order it so it's wired for two pumps. Also, the wiring is super high quality, aircraft grade Teflon. It's resistant to all exotic fuels like ethanol, methanol. You won't have to worry about corroding. All the hardware is either hard anodized aluminum or stainless steel to resist corrosion from exotic fuels. The terminals on the top connect to your car's wiring. You can use stainless ring terminals, which are included in the kit, and there's like plastic acorns that go on the top to prevent anything from touching and shorting up here. So overall, it's a great integrated, really safe, really sanitary system that makes your life a lot easier. The Radium hanger is compatible with the stock fuel level sensor, and that bolts on right here, so your stock fuel gauge and everything works just fine. For a fuel pump, we were running a 340 liter per hour high performance pump. It wasn't an ethanol pump, but we're just running it anyway because that's what was in the car. Now, running on ethanol probably didn't make it too happy, and it was also out of capacity. So we're replacing it with this Walbro 450 liter per hour fuel pump. This is a really powerful pump that still fits in the stock footprint. It's probably one of the highest flowing pumps that fit in a stock envelope on the market. What's cool about this pump is it has a 2-stage impeller, so it's kind of like a jet engine. Most pumps just have an impeller and that's it, but this thing has an impeller, a static stator, and another impeller. So it's 2 stages of pumping, and that's how you can get so much flow in a small package. You know, like we didn't want to run twin pumps just because this car, you know, probably is going to make about 500 horsepower, which isn't that crazy, but we wanted to keep it simple, so we wanted to get a big pump that could do the job and fit within the Radium hanger and not add excessive complexity. So we found that at the 400 horsepower point, the stock mass airflow meter can't keep up with the air demands of the engine anymore. And even with rescaling the airflow meter table, it still doesn't have enough resolution to tune properly. So what we're going to have to do is switch to speed density instead of mass airflow. And fortunately, with the help of Cobb and IAG, this isn't all that hard. Basically, you have a Cobb map sensor, and you have this IAG adapter harness, which makes it just a plug-and-play simple deal. And you have this bracket to hold the map sensor. You also have an intake air temp sensor and the harness to make that drop in. This is a really easy solution. The axis port does the math, and instantly you go from mass airflow to speed density. So when converting our car to flex fuel, we had 1000cc injectors. Now these maxed out, like running a little bit more than 80% of the duty cycle at 400 wheel horsepower. To get any more power, we're going to have to go to bigger injectors. What we chose is these Injector Dynamics 1300cc per minute injectors. These injectors are kind of a joint thing between Cobb and Injector Dynamics, and they have unique features. This just isn't an off-the-shelf Bosch injector. Injector Dynamics worked with Bosch to come up with an injector that has really quick response at low pulse widths, so the invalid time is really small. This way you get good idle and part throttle drivability characteristics. Also, these injectors are all characterized, so they all flow really well. The flow is all matched, and the flow is matched across the whole range of pulse widths. This makes it a lot easier for the tuner and gives you better drivability. They drop straight into, you know, if you have a top feed conversion thing, and we already have an Injector Dynamics fuel rail on the motor, so it's going to be a direct drop in. And they come with these plug and play connectors. This is a Cobb part, so it's just a snap to add it. So now if you have a high horsepower Subaru, you know what to do. It's totally scalable. All you have to do is mess with the injector size and add and subtract fuel pumps, and you can hold as much power as the EJ engine is capable of putting out. So if you like this content and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and give us likes. And if you want to read all about this in detail, go to MotoIQ.com. Check out our many technical articles there. And if you'd like us to work on your car, for MotoIQ.com, you can click on the garage services link and we'll get back to you. Till next time.